Purchasing air filters directly from the manufacturer definitely has its perks. Factory Direct Air Filters doesn't just sell filters, but they manufacture the Aerostar air filter brand. So basically, you're cutting out the middleman. If you manage multiple properties or commercial service contracts, they do have bulk discounts, but they also offer wholesale pricing as well. They've got consistent inventory and standard sizes ship within 2 days. They also do unique sizes to spec, and that's within about 5 days. They have free shipping across the US. So if you guys want to get your filters faster and cheaper and built to spec, factorydirectfilters.com is the place to go. What's up, guys? So listen, artificial intelligence, AI for short is what we call it. It can help us in the field. There's a lot of people that have debated whether AI is coming after our jobs. And right now, I think it's safe to say it's not climbing on the roof to change a compressor, blah, 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 blah. It's not doing that right now. Maybe one day in the future, who knows what's going to happen. But right now, it's not. So we can use AI as a tool to help us in the field to be a more efficient technician. So on this podcast, I have Josh Souders and I got Jim Fultz from Copeland. And we're going to have a discussion on how AI can help a technician in the field, like practically, and make our jobs a little bit more easier and more efficient compared to 20, 30 years ago. So let's get into this, guys, with Josh and Jim from Copeland. This is the HVAC Know-It-All podcast, and I'm your host, Gary McCreadie. This podcast is sponsored by Cool Air Products, Cintas, and SupplyHouse.com. Go to the show notes and click on the links to check these guys out. All right, gentlemen. So AI, it's a topic that can be controversial. It can be polarizing, heated. There's people that like it, people that love it, people that hate it, and people that don't understand it. So let's get into this and talk about AI and how it could help the HVAC professional. And we can talk about what Copeland's doing from an AI standpoint as well. So Jim, I'm going to start with you on this one. Give me your sort of initial thoughts on the whole AI thing as it pertains to the industry.
Thanks for having us here today.
Yeah, not a problem.
Gary, this is awesome. And yeah, AI is something that there's been a lot of talk of it lately. And to summarize what I've heard, as far as an overall view of the industry, technicians don't need to worry about being replaced by AI. That the job is always going to be there. We need the hands in the field to actually do the work. And I'd give a quote here of a show that I was at earlier this spring, as far as AI within the office setting. And it went like this, that office personnel do not need to be worrying about being replaced by AI, but they should be concerned about being replaced by others who know how to use AI in the office setting. AI is something that we are all going to see, to benefit, to embrace. As far as the technician side of things, the clearest way that I can describe AI is just simply like this, that AI is only as good as what goes into it. And my example is, if there's a furnace that has a code that says the limit circuit is defective. Well, if a technician asks AI and the only thing that AI got input into it was a flame rollout, and they look at that, they're going to say, hey, I know what the problem is. The limit circuit's bad. Well, what they don't realize is that limit circuit could have opened up from a dirty air filter, from a fan blower that failed, from a whole bunch of other things. And so from the AI troubleshooting side of things, it's going to take a number of years for all of that information to be input into AI for it to be valuable and usable in that type of aspect. Now, that being said, I'll finish this up here with the fact that any piece of AI that has had the time and knowledge put into it, those pieces of AI already exist in the field. We'll share, I think, a little bit later with Copeland app. All that information in there is going to give a lot more accurate response and give good, credible information back to the technician.
So Josh, I'll get to you in a minute. I just want to follow up on what you said there, Jim, about the office staff can get replaced by people that know and understand AI and how to implement it into the tasks of the day, because what that person is now doing, if they do it correctly, is making their life more efficient, and it's making life more efficient for everybody else that is part of that team, from dispatching to quoting to getting back to customers in a timely manner. I worked for a big commercial company for many, many years, and the phone on busy days constantly ringing, constantly ringing, constantly ringing. And the dispatcher is picking up the phone, but she's got another phone that she's talking to and it's like this all day. So AI can help with stuff like that. We have AI that can answer phones, it can respond, it can schedule jobs, it can do all this stuff in the background, where someone that's doing this, there's still customers being taken care of in the AI universe, if you will. So that's just, I just kind of wanted to touch on that point quickly before I went to Josh. Josh, what are your thoughts on AI when it comes to this industry?
Yeah. So, I think first of all, at this point, it's my belief that AI is more of an inevitability, right? It's kind of like, 40 years ago, people talking about PCs and whether they were going to be big. It's going to happen. You're not going to stop it. And so the people that lead the edge of the pack learn how to utilize the tools properly. And that's really what AI is for, I think, most people. It's a tool, right? They're going to be the ones that are getting ahead and able to leverage that skill set to gain an advantage in the market, right? I just read that NVIDIA has $1 trillion in back ordered product. So they have secure orders for $1 billion in processors for AI, right? I mean, these are big companies that are making huge investments. And so it's going to happen at some point. So the sooner you can learn to use the tools, the sooner you can get familiar with them, the sooner you can gain an advantage over your competitors with the products.
I want to give you an example where last week I used ChatGPT to look at an HVAC problem that was part of an insurance investigation. So I'm not going to name company names and addresses and all that kind of stuff. I'll just give you the generalized scope of what happened. But it's a high-rise building. It's a condo building. It's got a mechanical room in the penthouse. And they have, I don't know what's in the suites. It's probably fan coils, I would imagine. But they go from a boiler system to a chiller system. And it's the single pipe. So the hot water and the cold water uses the exact same pipe. It's got to be switched over manually with valving and stuff like that. And twice now, when they've gone from cooling to heating, twice on the same floor, a copper pipe burst down the middle of the pipe, and it burst, and the burst is like 8-9 inches long, and it just burst. And we're trying to figure out why that happened. And we've got a lot of different ideas and theories. I said, you know what? I'm going to type this problem into ChatGPT and just see what it comes up with. And it came up with, honestly, a lot of really valid scenarios that could have happened. And now with these scenarios in front of us, things that we kind of thought, but it went a little bit more in depth on each one. Things that you may not have thought, like little bits of detail. And now that there's like 3 or 4 different scenarios that it came up with, we can go through all of those scenarios and start eliminating what we thought, maybe it's not that one because this happened and that happened. Maybe it's not that one. And we can finally get down to the one we think it is the most and prove that's why it happened. So I'm finding that, and you guys weigh in on this, and I'll start with you, Jim, but ChatGPT in itself seems to be getting smarter when it comes to problems that could happen in the field, and technicians can utilize to get an edge on maybe their competitor or their coworker. I'm not saying to compete with your coworker, but just if they were there and you're on a callback and you throw it into ChatGPT, this is what happened. Technician found this. I'm back. What could the problem be? You can get some really valid information. Jim, what do you think?
Yeah, so that goes back to my earlier comment about, as more information is put into this, as more of the solutions are input, that creates that larger database for the various scenarios. And what I like that you said about as you were going through that is the fact that you may have not had that specific solution in that list, but the thought process, the idea of, hey, let's look at this, if nothing else, AI created a open mindset to say, hey, let's look beyond this little thing that we thought it was. Let's look at all of the possibilities here. Is there anything else we can think of and to add to that? And then the biggest key to that is, and this would be a question, how did ChatGPT know all of those solutions? Somebody had to put that in. And so where's it getting that to know all of those solutions?
Yeah, it is true. Where is it getting at that information? And Josh, I mean, we come to you. It's getting it scouring the internet, correct?
Yeah.
Is simple.
Yeah,
and
I
plain?
mean, it's scouring, forum posts and, Reddit posts and YouTube videos and, and comment sections and different things where other people had remote problems, they input, people had discussion, came to conclusions, and it's pulling all that and kind of, basically it's aggregating that information and putting it right center in front of you very quickly, right? Instead of you having to go through and find those forum posts. It reminds me of like working on my car back in the day, right? You're like, man, I have this issue, can't figure it out. You go to your car's forums and you might have 3 or 4 for your make and model, and you search and sort, and you finally you find hidden in this one thread, oh, this is the issue. This is my exact issue, and here's the solution, right? AI bubbles all that to the top very quickly, very instantly. And, I'll say, if you take any AI model today, whether it's ChatGPT, Claude, Gemini, whatever it is, just realize that the current state today, when you use that model, that's the worst it's ever going to be. It's only going to get better. It's only going to get more information. It's only going to get faster and more accurate at predicting the output that you need. So just, realize that it's going to keep improving. So if doesn't work perfectly right now, I mean, give it a couple months and, you never know what you're going to see.
Yeah. No, good point. And I really like the point that you made about if you have a specific problem in life, like your car, but let's say it's an HVAC problem, there are techs that will go into Facebook groups and ask a question, like you said, Reddit, go into other forums, one of the old ones, HVAC Talk. They'll go into these places and try to find the information, and it could take them time to get a response or find what they're exactly looking for. But if you get into an AI app that, like you said, scours all of this and it gives you the top answers within seconds, why wouldn't you utilize that instead of digging and trying to spend time looking further down or getting further down the rabbit hole into all these forums and discussion groups when you don't have to?
Just one more piece of that, and that's where I was looking at us going is Facebook discussion, Reddit discussion, and I would like to add to that then that as you're looking at AI, to make sure that you understand that those could be the sources, and those sources could be a age technician, or it could be somebody that's brand new in the field that said, hey, I tried this and for some reason something worked when it might not have even really been the issue. And so the source where you're getting your solutions can be all over with AI. With like Google AI, you can actually see where those sources came from. They're going to show the web page where that came from, whether it's Reddit or whether it's a manufacturer. And if you got some good manufacturer or scientific research that's where that's coming from, there's a lot more confidence that I would have in saying, yeah, these are viable solutions. So just something to keep in mind as you look at AI. AI does not necessarily mean your answer that you got was a professional answer.
Yeah, that's a good point too. Okay, so let's turn it to the average technician. It's a young kid just starting out. Maybe they're just out of trade school and maybe got a year of following a tech around, and now they're getting thrown into the fire. They're going to service calls on their own. How can a new technician start utilizing AI to their benefit so they're not calling? Because let me give an example. As a young technician, I did not like calling another mechanic or another tech or the boss, because you're putting yourself in a vulnerable position where you could get yelled at and what are you doing? Like, you know what I mean? It's a very tough spot to be in when you're learning, because you don't know what the outcome is going to be on the other side of that phone when you call that person. Are you going to get yelled at? Are you going to get the right information? Are they going to hang up the phone? Who knows what's going to happen? So for that young tech that's trying to find their way in the field, how can they best utilize AI in order to maybe circumvent the whole call in the boss thing? Jim, I'll start with you on that.
So AI, again, I think reiterates what I've already shared as far as just being aware that it came from. AI is something, and this is a point I'd like to drive with that, as far as, you can go to AI and it says, well, it could be this, it could be this. If you're getting multiple options, then you're not going to just go to, oh, this is the option, and you're confident the first thing you see is what the solution is. This is the piece that I would like to add to that. As a new technician, whenever you're working through a issue with a system and something comes to light, it's in your best interest to try to work through everything that's going on there before you go to the homeowner and say, hey, I found your problem. You got a burnout transformer. And the homeowner says, great. What are we looking at? We replaced the transformer. Well, wait a minute. There was something else that burned out the transformer. There was another step that needed to be taken and done. And so even with AI, just taking it slow, making sure that you've got clear to the bottom of what you're looking at, that the solution is completely fixed before you go and take it to that next step of sharing with the homeowner and saying, I know the full solution. AI could give you a partial solution, just like when you're troubleshooting, you may only get that first part of that solution, and not taking the confidence that, hey, AI, help me, I got to the bottom of this, everything's good, and making sure that there isn't a secondary problem or issue that created that.
Mm-hmm. Josh, you have anything to add to that, what Jim was saying?
Yeah, I mean, like I said earlier, AI is a tool, right? It's a tool just like your multimeter, just like your gauge set. It's never going to replace your competency as a technician. It's never going to replace the knowledge that you gain over time that you can use to troubleshoot these systems. And I think to Jim's point, using AI for, helping you troubleshoot, helping you point in the right direction when you're stuck, I think is key. But without the baseline knowledge, it's not going to really help you at the end of the day. As an example, right? You come into the system, still running, something's not right though, and you think it's a compressor issue, right? You've isolated the compressor. We have a new AI in our Copeland Mobile, the Scout AI. You can, say, hey, for, XYZ model at this operating condition, what power draw should I expect, right? And you got to know, I got to use my multimeter. I got to see what power draw is. Okay, Copeland specification says it should be, this much. I'm off by, 300 watts. Okay, it is a compressor issue, right? And then, what's the next step? What caused the compressor issue? Is it just the compressor age? Is it really compressor, or is it something else that induced a premature compressor failure? So that's where I think AI as a tool is super powerful, is it gives you that quick reference information, the quick lookups, the ability to find information quickly or point you in the right direction, but it's never going to replace that baseline knowledge that you as a technician need to constantly be growing and adapting and learning.
All right, so let's talk about what Copeland is doing on this front, because I mean, we got the Copeland mobile app and your product that's kind of embedded into that Scout, which is an AI tool. It's been around for about a year now, right? Something like that.
Yes. Yep. Scout's been around for about a year. Copeland Mobile was around for a long time, formerly Emerson Mobile. What we're doing now is we're trying to consolidate everything into one ecosystem. So if you're using what would have been called White Rogers controls and those kind of things, they're trying to slowly consolidate everything in a one-stop shop. And then Scout AI will kind of unify and allow you to cross-reference stuff very quickly and, just by speaking to it, basically.